Welcome, everybody, to the Breakdown Podcast YouTube channel. My name's Corey, and that guy over there that can't figure out where to look, that's Vic.
I'm being sneak attacked by a cat. What's going on, everybody?
That's why I don't have a cat. On this episode, we are going to be talking about the latest episode of Superman and Lois. But first, before we do want to let you know we've got a podcast that we do live every Tuesday on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/MillerKing_51. That link you will find down below in the description. You head over there, 7 p.m. Eastern. We currently are talking about The Flash as well as Cobra Kai. And next week we will start to get into Moon Knight.
Yay!
You can join the
Something
chat.
I really want to talk about.
It's certainly probably more than the Flash that I'd like to talk about. But if you come over, join the chat, have fun with us, and if you can't, we do have the episodes available on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts. Just search the Breakdown Podcast, you'll find it. And also, while you're here, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications when we upload a new video. And if you got any thoughts on what we're talking about here, leave us a comment down below as well, too, because that all helps us out, and we appreciate it. So, Vic.
Yes, sir.
Let's break it down.
All right. We have this week's episode of Superman and Lois, Into Oblivion. This week's episode, we're going to talk about this week's episode as we always do. We're going to break up the story into its components and talk about each one in full rather than trying to bop back and forth, trying to explain how everything fits together. But this week we're going to start with Lana and her mayoral aspirations. She's stuck trying to figure out how she's going to handle the debate with the current mayor, Mayor Jerkface, and because she knows the only thing he's going to want to do is talk about her husband's affair. That's it, and she knows that he's going to turn in, and she's like, I don't know how to handle this, and she's having a conversation with her husband, whose name I can't remember right now. But she's having a conversation with him. He's like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this, blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, I'm having a mock debate or a mock practice session with her friend, and she's like, with Avery, and he's like, okay, well, if you need my help, just let me know. And she's like, yeah, I don't need your help. She's still mad. And he's taking the girls out for breakfast. And I'm like, okay, did you see the little girl go out the door? Because I didn't notice. It was just...
She's in the cutscene.
It was just the daughter, right? It was just the older daughter. From what
I saw, it was just the older daughter.
So the younger daughter doesn't need breakfast or need to go to school. Is that what's happening? Is that how this works out?
She went up the stairs, never to return.
It's ridiculous. But they leave for breakfast, and she's supposed to have her meeting. But he ends up coming back to talk to her, and she's like, oh, well, she canceled. She had something she had to take care of, so now I have to try to figure it out. He's like, well, I'll just help you. He's like, well... And of course, she's like trying to be mad about the whole thing, but it's hard for me to believe that she's actually mad because she's not really done anything to prove she's mad at him. She's still talking to him, which is fine. And she's handling it how she wants to, but he ends up he's going to be, a bastard about this. He's going to, like, every time they start talking, you bring up any kind of a topic, he's going to try to swing it back around to our family issues. And she's like, well, I'm just not going to let him. I'll just go back to I'll go back to whatever the actual topic is. And he's like, no. He's like, you can't, because it's going to make it look like you're just trying to avoid the question. He's like, you need to face it head on and just answer the question and then move on to the next thing. And she's like, okay. So he starts going in on her, and he's like, you do know that the moderator is the mayor's hunting buddy. So he's obviously not going to be fair and impartial. He's going to ask you hard questions and throw, and probably lob softballs at his buddy. And he starts going in on her. He's like, well, how do how are you supposed to take care of this town if you can't even take care of your own family? And she goes off on him. Obviously this is what she should have done. She needs to go off on him to get it out of her system. And then once she did that, she's like, okay, here's the deal. Everybody has a hard time in life. Things happen. We just get past it. We keep moving. I'm here to look after my family in this town, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, that's a good answer. Done. That's all we need to say about this.
In all reality, he was spitting facts.
Right.
He was like, look, the guy that's going to be asking questions, he's a friend of the mayor. He's going to be light to him. he's not going to be like to you.
Right.
You're going to have to face reality that you're going to get some tough questions, and you're going to have to figure out ahead of time what you're going to say.
Right.
This is important. And I think a lot of people in real life, I think they tend to forget things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh no, they wouldn't do that. Yeah, they would.
No. Anyone will take any chance to pull on your pain. Bottom line, especially if it's someone who's against you, like the mayor is. He's gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not rainbows and butterflies in reality, and it's going to happen.
Right. Because I can guarantee the mayor is going to know what all these questions are ahead of time and be able to practice for them. You are not going to get them. It's going to be a rigged election, a rigged, thing, because that they didn't get an impartial moderator. So, like, if you know this, be prepared for it. Just do it.
Yeah.
You got to Eminem. You got to be rap at that shit.
Yeah. And we, me personally, I don't care about this story, as I've said before. It's going to end up leading to her winning. I guarantee it. Because why else have all this build up and then have her lose?
I think she's going to lose, and then something's going to happen to the mayor, and then she's going to end up as mayor.
You think they're going to actually, the writers are going to be like, we're going to let her have it by default because the real mayor died in some explosion?
No. It's going to be she's going to run for mayor. She's going to lose, right? And then the mayor is going to do something fucking ridiculously dastardly.
That's what I'm saying.
And what they're going to do is they're going to be like, oh, we should have voted for you in the first place. And then she's going to win, like, at the last minute. Like, he's going to be, like, the forerunner about to win, and then something dirty is going to happen. So.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's too obvious at this point, especially with as much focus as they put on it, and for as much as I've dragged it out. She's going to end up winning, and I honestly don't care.
That or she's going to lose. The mayor's going to do something stupid and like very inappropriate. And
she'll be candidate.
Well, no. She's going to do something very inappropriate. The husband's going to walk up and have at him, and that's going to make her fall back in love with her husband and forgive him, and then that's going to fix their family. We'll see.
Yeah. How realistic. All right, we're going to move on to the twins, the Wonder Twins.
The fraternals.
Nope, they're the Wonder Twins. And I'm trying to think of how their whole story started. They're at school, and
it starts off with them at home because Lois is like, the principal is considering allowing you to go to school online, but you can't, whatever. And he's like, they're also canceling the football season, and they're like, everyone's upset with you about this. I'm like, okay. How is this still only his fault? Because the other kid, he didn't play. He played one game. One game he played.
Why are they canceling the entire football season?
Because they don't know. Because it wasn't just one. They don't know. The whole idea behind it is there are multiple kids on that team, and if one kid on the team was juicing, they don't know that other kids on the team weren't juicing, and if that's the case, then the season is not legit. They could have been using during the whole season, since they're undefeated so far.
Fair enough.
They're like, that's not fair to the other teams who, were doing it the right way. So they cancel the season, and they forfeit all their games.
Fair enough, but to put blame all entirely on him is stupid.
Exactly.
He just happened to be the one that got caught.
Right.
And technically he didn't get caught.
He didn't get caught using.
No.
He just got caught with the drugs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, say what you will about that. They end up going to school, and Jordan overhears some crazy person that happened to
get on campus
to get into the school.
It amazes me that none of these schools have any kind of security.
Between this show and Cobra Kai, I don't understand how many adults can get into high schools and not be questioned by anything, especially in 2022.
Especially that dude. He did not look like he had any business on that campus, because none of those kids were the age that he should have had a child in that school.
he also didn't look like he finished high school.
Right.
So,
true statement.
It is what it is. So he's trying to talk to what's his name's girlfriend, saying that he owes her she owes him money and blah blah blah, and then the dude leaves, and so at the same time, Jordan is being told by his girlfriend that she talked to the girl that she kissed at camp,
Mm-hmm.
and and she helped her out, and she wants the two of them to meet. And at first he's like, no, but because he got wrapped up in the conversation that was going on
Yeah.
at the end of the hallway, he said okay.
He agreed.
Dumb.
I mean, and you can see, like, okay, you want me to hang out with you and the girl that you, for all intents and purposes, cheated on me with. I don't like that idea. And she's like, no, but I really want you to because I want us to all be friends. And he's like,
but Jordan, think of the possibilities.
All right, you need to stop that line of questioning right now.
Come on, a high school kid has got to be thinking that.
Jordan, he's not that kid. Jonathan, probably. Jordan, not so much.
So he agrees to it. Later on, he ends up talking to Jonathan, and he's like, and tells him what he heard, and says, you didn't tell me it was her. He's like, what does it matter? Blah, blah, blah. But they're still okay. They end up. It just so happens he's done. No, actually, yeah, he wasn't done working at the time.
No. All of this happened. That happened at the end. So, he's heading out to go see Sam and the girl.
Yes.
Jonathan had just gotten off of work because now he works at Brit and Dunn's, the convenience store that just conveniently opened up 2 episodes ago. And he gets a job there because he's got to pay. I don't know why he has to pay restitution, or if he does, or if it's just mom and dad want him doing something other than being able to hang out. So he's working there. He gets off at the end of the night and he's walking his girlfriend home. And as he's walking her home, she's talking to him about, oh, I'm so like, I can't believe you're doing this for me. Yada yada yada. He's like, and he's just kind of being a charming kid, and she makes him laugh, or he makes her laugh, and she's like, that's why I love you. And he's like, hold on, you love me? And this scene, I'm like, how do you not see that car?
I have a problem with this whole scene. First of all, before I saw the car in the background, I said, why the hell are they walking down the middle of the road? Is that safer than walking on the side of the road?
There was no sidewalk.
Because I had no idea.
There was no sidewalk.
You've obviously never grown up in the suburbs. Let me tell you how
I have.
No, because when I was growing up, I actually would walk to school, and it was within walking distance. We didn't walk in the middle of the road. We actually walked through people's yards, and when we did walk on the street, we were walking along the curb so the cars could get around us without hitting us. Instead of walking in the middle of the road when the cars were going, get the F out of the road.
Yeah, there's a better. You have more of a chance of falling in the road and getting hit by a car walking on that curb than you do walking on the street.
No, we weren't literally walking on the road. We were still on the street, but up against the curb. I
understand.
And a lot of times we were just in the grass walking through.
When you live in a small town, right? And there's no sidewalks. You just walk down the middle of the street. Like it's not an odd thing. Like I've done it a million times. Like and when it's a small town like Smallville, the smallest of small towns, nobody's on those fucking streets at night. That whole town shuts down at 7:00, and those kids are all they're just there. There's nobody else there. But the drug dealer pulls up with his headlights off. He manages to creep up within a couple feet of them without them noticing it while they're gazing longingly into each other's eyes.
He must be driving a Tesla or some electric
car. He's driving a freaking muscle car.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. I would imagine they would hear that as it's pulling up on them.
No, not at all.
Strange how that didn't happen.
So the lights flash on, and they're all like, oh, there's somebody here. And the guy jumps out, and he's like, where's my money? I was like, all right, Stewie Griffin.
Yeah, and then he hits his asthma inhaler and goes after Jonathan and
hits
him a couple times.
At this point, you look at this kid and you're like, this is a teenage kid. I'm a grown man. I can't take this kid, so I'm going to use my super inhaler.
Yeah.
But he does, and he beats up Jonathan. Jonathan is hurt once again.
Jordan hears
pretty sure that arm's broken.
Jordan hears the girl screaming. So just as he's about to go meet up with his girlfriend and her friend, and he goes to save him, but he puts the hood on so nobody can see him. Nobody can see who he is, and Jonathan tells his girl to run,
right?
Knowing just basically to protect Jordan, I would imagine.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Because knowing that he's there, he should know that everything's going to be fine at this point. Because now you got power against power instead of power against.
I will tell you this though: when he was trying to force her into the car, Jonathan did something that I yell at people for all the time in TV shows and movies. He went and grabbed the keys out of the car and threw them into the woods, into the brush, where the guy couldn't get to them directly.
That was quick thinking.
Do you know how many times I've seen shows where people are like, I can't get away from the guy, and they like run past the guy's car and they try to get in and go or whatever, and instead of grabbing the keys and tossing them, and they just run. I was like, I can't believe they actually put this in there because no one ever does it, but he did. He grabbed the keys.
I will make you think about something though. This is during the football season. He reached in there without opening the door, which means the window was down.
Yes.
Who drives around with their windows down during the middle of football season? I know it's not that warm out.
No, not on,
especially towards the end of the season.
And on top of that, it was raining outside. However, when he walked outside, he was not wearing his jacket, so it can't be that cold. He never put his jacket on. So it must not be that cold. And I can tell you, as of last Saturday, it was snowing. Then the next day, it was 70 degrees outside, and then it was foggy as heck the day after that. So there's no telling what's going on with the weather. But either way,
I was actually just saying it to be funny. But
either way, like I was impressed that he actually did that, and I was like, well, he's not going to get rid of the car. That's going to draw attention real easily until he goes and finds those keys. And the girl gets away. Jordan gets into a fight with Super Druggy, and ends up winning because he gives him the super uppercut, which sends him flying into the car. And then he leaves. He's like, oh, thanks for the backup. And he's like, yeah, no problem. I actually thought Jordan looked kind of cool with his hood up, and like he was kind of trying to look down and away so they couldn't see his face. I thought they played it off pretty well. And then he takes off. He does the super run and gets away. And as he's going back to the diner, he's listening to their conversation. You're like, do you think he's really going to show up? And you're like, I don't know. But then he's about to go in, but then he looks down at his hands and realizes that his knuckles are all bruised and his face is all bruised. And I'm like, if he has Superman's powers of invulnerability and health regeneration, then none of that should be an issue. But it is, so fine. He's still young. He doesn't have all of his powers. Let's let it go. And then he decides to walk away and he goes home.
Because he's not powered up yet.
Yeah, he's not fully powered. After all this is said and done, they end up showing Jonathan getting home after getting his girlfriend home. He gets in trouble for walking his girlfriend home. And he's like, you're supposed to go from school to Britain done and then home. If you do anything else, it's against the rules. Like, and from now on, you call us first. And he's like, okay. And he goes up in his room. And Lois is like, you need to chill, because if you don't, it's going to cause more problems than it's worth, i.e. my sister. Cue the bull.
Yeah, well, to finish up that story, the brothers end up talking afterwards, and they're like, remember, we're the fraternals.
Yeah, you can talk to me about anything.
I hope that does not stick.
Oh, they're trying to make it stick hardcore, because they use it once per episode. They're trying to make it happen.
So yeah, as far as the story arc for this episode, they're done.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna bring out an actual comic book called The Fraternals. That's gonna be the two brothers. I feel like that's what this is all about. They're literally introducing a comic book in the show, so that when the comic book hits the shelves, you're like, oh, that's them.
That won't sell.
I'm
moving
sure
on.
That's what it is.
So our main story arc is with Lois's sister and what's going on with
Allie Alston.
With Allie. And this, I've made this comment before about, the show is called Superman and Lois. I want to see the stories about, I want to see them. They should be the focus of it. But in this story arc, at least for this episode, Lois was more of the focus, I think, because it revolved around her sister and her dad and Allie. And Superman was actually kind of like the side thing. He was the co-starring.
He was the side piece of the episode.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, if this arc would have been its one episode, it would have been co-starring Superman. Because all he did was he didn't really do anything if you think about it.
Right.
They get a message. First of all, Lois talks to the other girl from the newspaper, and she's like,
Chrissy.
Ellie wants to talk to me. She's going to give me this big story, and I'm going to jump right on it. And I'm thinking, you're a fool. You're a big fool.
Yeah, and the other part to it is like, oh yeah, well, it's a really good you kept in contact with her, like it was this secret agent thing going on between them. It's just like it really paid off by keeping in contact with her. I was like, okay, so they made her think that she was still a believer even after everything that happened. Okay, so yeah.
Yes. so she gets off the phone with Lois because Van pulled up to pick her up, and the guy's like, "Give me your phone." I'm like, "Okay, there's red flag number one."
Right.
Then she's like, she does it, and he's like, "Get in the back." The van opens up, and there's two people sitting there with hazmat suits on, and one of them's holding one, and she's like, "They're in hazmat suits." He's like, "Yeah."
He's like, "Don't ask
so there's
questions."
So there's red flag number two,
right.
And you still get in the van like a moron. And but no, it's her greed for that story that's putting her in this position.
Right. Like
because
I told
she could easily.
She tends to make bad decisions because they don't stop her. She's done this every time.
It's on her from in regards to her. It's greed because she wants that story and she wants to become famous. As much as she doesn't want to say it or believe it, it's true. Why else would you forebode any of the red flags that you're literally seeing right in front of you, knowing that it is, and the look on her face said it, and you still do it.
Right.
So they end up going to the mines, and obviously this is red flag number 3. I thought I was doing an interview. What are we doing here at the mines?
Right.
Well, apparently Anderson, prior to this, had gone to the other side.
Yep.
And spoke with the other Allie, and when he came back, said what she told him to say, which has spawned this.
You know what was weird about that whole interaction? Like, she's talking to him, and he's like, "So you killed Kal-El," and I'm like, "Why is she referring to him as Kal-El, for one? 2, I'm like, she's like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "I'm positive. I killed him." Blah blah blah. And he's like, "All right, then I need you to go back and tell her this." And then she starts talking to him, and then it slowly starts reverting into the Bizarro language, the backwards speech. And I was like, okay, pretty interesting way to show us that he's actually in the Bizarro world. But as soon as she said Kal-El, I was like, Allie doesn't refer to him as that, so why did that just happen? And that's when I realized, as soon as she said, I was like, oh, he's in the upside down, which is basically what's going on there.
And he comes back and tells Allie, who ends up sending him to the mines to take care of all of the soldiers that are there.
Right.
So that way they can come in as they are now, and with the pendant, they opened up this portal, and they all start walking real slow, and a couple of them get sucked in and evaporate. And now Newspaper Girl is getting all scared, and it's like, you skipped over all those red flags.
Now you're worried.
This is on you.
Red flag number 5, and now you're actually getting worried.
And meanwhile, Superman hears her screaming.
Yeah.
Goes to the mines, can't see it because, fortunately enough, it just happens to be lined in lead.
The whole place with lead.
And but he ends up going in, saving 3 people in total, including Allie, and those other 2 are gone. One of those people that they think were gone was Lois's sister.
Right.
So now, they take Allie into custody. The Newspaper Girl we don't see from the rest of the episode, I don't think. She does give, she does, say, what happened, but then we don't see her. The other dude we never see because he's just an extra. And now Allie's in custody.
Right.
And Lois's dad comes in because he has authority because he's retired.
No. He's been temporarily reinstated.
He comes in and starts to question her about his other daughter. And actually, he said he wants to know all the names of people over there. And she's like, "You just want to."
Yeah, you just want.
She starts manipulating him.
Yep.
And I'm like, "Oh, I see where this is going."
Right.
And he ends up having to leave before he finds out any information.
Right, because
surprise.
It's exactly what she wanted. She wanted him to get upset. She wanted
Yep.
to hurt him, which then hurts Lois, because they don't know where
they don't know where his sister is.
Right, her sister.
So Lois ends up having some words with her, and Allie ends up staying in custody.
She's like, lawyer.
Yeah, I'm lawyering up. Okay, good for you. I'm not sure what lawyer is actually going to take this case.
Oh, the lawyer that gave her it's going to be the same lawyer that gave her the pendant, but he should be like ancient at this point because she was like 12. So if that's her lawyer still, I'm gonna call BS.
Well, it's a special superpower that he got from the other dimension that allows him to stay alive.
Gotcha.
He doesn't age as quickly.
Gotcha.
For those watching, I just made that up.
So let me tell you what I thought was gonna happen. Actually, finish so that I can tell you what I thought was gonna happen. Go ahead.
So as the show continues on, they're at home and they're all upset that they think that she's gone. And what happens is there's a knock on the door and it's her.
Yep.
Now, keep in mind, earlier in the episode, Superman had gone on a quick run over to her apartment because Lois and her dad both got messages at the same time saying, the exact same message. And when he goes there, all he finds is a cell phone, and she's not there. Not real sure how she sent the text without her phone, but I digress.
Is that what you were thinking at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
And then she shows up later, and makes reference to having her phone. I'm like, you don't have your phone. I'm like, because she said that they took her phone.
Right.
I'm like, your phone was found at your apartment. So. I called BS right there, and she's like, "I'm so sorry." She gives me this, that whole spiel.
You were right the whole time. Allie was a monster. Blah blah blah. Yeah. I'm like, no. There's no way.
Meanwhile,
all of a sudden, after umpteen years, you just now realize after they met their. Like they met their goal of getting to Bizarro World, you just coincidentally realized that this woman was batshit crazy. I don't buy it.
Yeah. So she's like, her dad decides to take her home. While he's there, he's drinking some tea, which we know what happens when you drink tea on this show.
Don't ever drink the tea.
He ends up, before he passes out, she's like, "I'm sorry,
I was the insurance policy.
I was the insurance. Okay, let me get this straight. The dad that you've had contact for years with, and had a decent conversation with, you're willing to just drug him just to get his pass to get out this person who you've obviously known what's going on.
Let me throw one even better at you. He literally just got reinstated, like, to the DOJ on a temporary basis. Yet, she already knew that she somehow knew that he had gotten that position, even though he wasn't in uniform, he wasn't there, but she automatically already knew that he was back in position and had a way of getting to her and had a way of knowing that they had her on top of everything else. I'm like, you know too much for someone who has no way of knowing anything.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna throw a little more into that. It's the fact that she wasn't there.
Right.
She theoretically could have been watching the whole time from afar, but she said she was the insurance plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that would imply that Allie knew she would get arrested or taken into custody, and that her dad would get reinstated. Because remember, at the time, he had no badge.
Right.
So what I want you to do is, if I get taken into custody, I want you to somehow get the badge your dad has, and come and save me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but wait, my dad doesn't have a badge. He's retired. Yeah, believe me, it'll work out. That doesn't it
I'm
doesn't work
assuming.
that
I'm
way.
assuming the
And
only
how did he
way.
get a badge in a day anyway?
I'm assuming the only way that they knew what was going on. Well, he obviously had a meeting with the lady who's in charge of the whole Department of Justice right now, because he said that she gave her a sincere apology to Superman and that all of his charges had been dropped. So like that whole process had just happened that day. Like all of this just happened. So he must have been reinstated, like, because it hasn't been that long. Like I don't understand. Like they
It
give you
hasn't been
no
a full
time
day.
frame. It's only been a couple days that all this has gone down. But I'm assuming Mr. Anderson said, well, if they're going to bring anybody back, they're going to bring back General Lang. And if they bring back General Lang, then our plan should be that if things don't work out and you get captured, they're going to bring you under DOD. They're going to bring you in as a prisoner of the DOD because Superman wanted me to come get you. And if that happens, the only way for you to get out is for her to drug her dad, take his access card, and then come in and get her, even though it's not her. The military, you use that thing, there's cameras, like they're going to know that you're not him, and they're not going to let you pull her out using your father's badge. Like none of this makes any sense, but I don't know how they're going to play it.
I'm curious to see how this works out next week when she tries to break her out,
Exactly.
because none of it's going to make any sense.
And we also know that those drugs don't necessarily kill a person, so he's going to wake up before all this goes down. Because they only stay out for like an hour or so, or whatever it is, and then he's gonna wake up and be like, "Oh crap, what happened? Where is she? Oh shit, she double crossed us." But what I thought was gonna happen with this episode, and I feel like it still may. So there is a point at which Laura Lang becomes Superwoman for a bit, like a Supergirl type character. And my thought process was she's gonna go into the Upside Down, and when she gets there, she's gonna meet herself, and then she's gonna merge, and she's gonna come back.
No, she's already done that.
Huh?
Oh, you're talking about when she merged.
Yeah, she's gonna merge, and when she merges, she's like, "Oh, well, when you merge with your other half, you become your greatest self." And I was like, "Oh, she's gonna go in there, she's gonna disappear, and then she's gonna come back out as this super powered, like bizarro version of herself, and that's going to be the big bad that he's going to have to fight." But then she didn't go in. But then I was like, oh, but now they're just prolonging the burn because she's still going to end up going in. Like it's going to be ridiculous.
You need a big battle for the final episode.
Well, but I think they're going to have Ali Alston come out as the big bad, but they're going to have her come out also as like the what do they call it, the moral big bad. Like, how do you fight your sister-in-law and destroy her? You know what I mean? Like that. So it's Alice is going to be the big bad, but he's going to defeat her like that, and then he's going to have to come up against Laura, and that's where things are going to go like completely bad. So I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, we did have this other side story. I completely forgot.
Which one?
And that's with the other Superman. Well, John.
Oh yeah, John Henry and his daughter. Correct.
John Henry.
So John Henry and his daughter. Obviously, we get kind of the backstory from Natalie's experience, I guess it would be, because we get to see that when her dad left, she actually left right after him. Like she followed him into space and saw what happened with Darkest Day Superman. And when he went through the portal, she actually flew in behind him, but she got stuck in between universes for 6 months. That's why we didn't see her until the end of last season, because she was in like hypersleep while her AI tried to figure out where he went and how to get her there. And once they finally do, she follows him in.
I have to say that that's good coverage on the writer's part.
On the storyline, yep.
Yeah, because, we're going, why did it take so long for her to get there?
Right.
That explains it, so good for them. However, she starts out the episode, and we see the flashback, and then it goes to today where she's sitting there with her dad, and he, for a moment, when Lois and Clark walk in, thinks that Lois
Is
is
his
his
wife.
Lois,
Right.
and they're like, she's like, no, that's not Mom. She's dead. He's
Well, on
like,
top of
no,
that, like, hey, if that were your Lois, why would she be standing next to the man that murdered
yeah.
her?
So anyhow,
Oh,
they
that's right.
leave
They
the
don't know.
room.
They don't know Clark is Superman. I keep forgetting
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Well. Um, then they go out to the hallway and they're talking, and she's still mad at Clark, which is fine.
Right.
Then a nurse walks up and they speak with them. They speak with her, and the daughter. Keep in mind, she's still in high school. Says then maybe we should order do another brain scan. And the nurse says, "Okay, I'll put the order in." I thought, are you
Yeah.
freaking kidding me?
You're taking medical advice from a
You're
fucking
taking
16-year
medical
old
advice as a nurse
from a
from a
15-year old.
16-year-old
Yeah.
or 15, however, and you're like, okay, yeah, we'll get right on that.
I heard it, but it didn't hit me that way. But now that you say it, I'm like, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense, a lick of sense whatsoever.
It makes no sense.
Like, let me go get
It's
the doctor to talk
absolutely
to you
stupid.
about it, or something. But like, yeah, I'll order that right away. Yeah, I didn't. That didn't even hit me.
I'm offended for all nurses out there or doctors. I don't know what this person's position was, even though I have a difference of opinion on doctors, but that's another story. They literally took the advice of a 15-year-old and goes, okay, we'll do it. Do you understand how expensive a scan like that would be?
Yeah.
They're not just going to willingly do it, especially for somebody from another planet who does not have insurance.
There it is.
Come on. Yes,
I didn't even think about that either. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that he has literally no insurance in there. No, that's not true. The DOD said that they would cover all expenses for his injuries. A couple episodes ago, they did say the DOD is covering it. So the medical bills are being covered by DOD. So of course they're going to do it. They're gonna bill the government.
Fair enough, but you still don't take it. You still don't take advice from a 15-year-old.
This is true.
That doesn't know anything about medical issues.
But they're saying that he has, his though his health is back to quote unquote normal, he's still having some lapses. This whole thing that Corey's talking about happens, but they do eventually end up sending him home, and he's like, and he goes and talks to Clark, and Clark's like, look, I put you through all this stuff, I caused all this damage, you caused it. He's like, dude, and I've been saying this the whole time. I chose to go. This was not on you. I could have stayed here and not helped and been perfectly fine. But I chose to get in the suit. I chose to fly out there. I got hurt. It's on me. Like, I'm like, why does your daughter not understand this? But from 15. Her standpoint, as a 15-year-old, she's like, you told me you were going to keep him safe, which he did, and he didn't. So, okay, I get why she's mad. It makes sense. And from a 15-year-old standpoint, it makes sense. But also remember that she's a 15-year-old genius from the future. So, like, her viewpoint on this whole situation is a little bit different than, like, Jonathan's viewpoint on this situation would be. Because, again, she's not exactly a normal 15-year-old, but she's still upset because, like, they're under their roof. She literally can't get away from him ever. And she doesn't have the ability to, like, separate herself from the problem, and that's keeping her mad about everything. So Clark does the smart thing, and he's like, hey, here's a key to a place that you guys can live, and maybe, like, having a chance to get away from me for a while and breathe might help, which makes sense. And at the end of the episode, they go and they check out the place, and I was like, this is actually this is what I figured they were going to do in the long run, was make them a part of the community somehow. And it's a garage basically that has a house attached to it somehow. And again, this fits in with both of them. Like, he's gonna start a repair shop in town, and that's how he's gonna make his money. And she's gonna help him, and then that's also gonna be their secret place to rebuild their suit. And, like, that's going to be their new bunker. So it all works out into the storyline. And she's like, oh, no, this is perfect. And so they're going to rent the place. And that's...
there's a line that you forgot.
Which one?
She says when the three of them, her and her dad and Clark are all in the kitchen, she says, it's hard for me to be in this house when you look like the man that killed my mom.
Right.
She should really think about the words she just said and play that back again. He looks just like the guy that killed her mom.
Uh-huh.
The guy that killed her mom was Superman.
Right.
Looks just like Clark.
Yeah.
Hi. Hi. Because she doesn't know this Superman. She's never met him.
Yeah, she does. She knows Clark's Superman. Yeah.
Does she?
Yeah. Oh yeah, she knows Clark's the Superman. They had a conversation about it a couple episodes ago.
I must have forgotten.
She 100% knows that Clark is Superman.
Okay, then forget it.
Because they had a conversation where they're talking about it's so weird because mom's married to the man who killed her in our world, and blah blah blah. They had a whole conversation about it. She knows that he's Superman.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah,
I just forgot about that, and I'm just, oh god, this show. I have a feeling it's starting to go down the wrong path, and I'm concerned because this was literally one of the best show out of the whole CW.
It is, and I think you're judging it too soon because you. And again, I keep telling you, you got to remember this. This is 2 shows. You have to look at this as 2 shows. This is the kids' version of Superman show, and it's the adults' version of Superman show. And the 2 stories are actually progressing, in my opinion, the way that they probably should. But at this point now, John Henry is hopefully going to get better. He's got a head injury. You never know how that's going to play out. It could come back anytime, and that's kind of
it's going to be the cliffhanger. It's going to be the cliffhanger in the finale, and something's going to happen, and he's going to turn evil.
Yeah,
that's just my prediction.
Well, the way that they're looking like we're going to end up with all the super kids jumping in to save the day is what I think is going to happen.
Probably, it's going to be.
She's going to put on the.
It's going to be that moment.
Yeah, she's going to put on the iron suit. Jordan's going to jump in. That moment
where everybody just appears in the screen all at the same time, and we get that one still shot of all of them. Guarantee it. So, I honestly hope not. Well, that's going to be all for this episode. We do thank you for watching. On behalf of Vic.
That's me.
I'm Corey. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.
See ya.